everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Cup of Joe show. I'm Joe. That's Jeremy. That's how we roll. We roll like this. All right. Sorry to everyone who watches today because that song's gonna be stuck in your head for the rest of the day. But anyway, we've got a lot to get to today, so we're just gonna jump right into it. We saw Sin City: A Dame to Kill For last night. That is Friday for whenever you're watching. August 22nd.
2014.
2014, yes.
AD.
Good point.
Or,
good point.
or CE.
A good point.
Whatever you want to go with.
So, the first one was very good. So this next installment came out 9 years later, which is strange, but a similar path to the 300 franchise. Yeah, what'd you think?
I enjoyed it. It wasn't as good as the first one, I don't think. I think that the first one kind of told more interesting tales from Sin City because, it was the first one, so there were more things to choose from. So they went with some of the more seminal storylines from the graphic novel. And the first time around, the whole art style, how they the visuals of the movie, it was a lot fresher, even within the franchise itself, and then other movies in the past 9 years have kind of imitated that to varying levels of success. The lowest of which would be The Spirit, which was just an abomination.
Yeah.
But even though it's been done, Sin City still does it the best, and it's still really cool. So yeah, the visuals definitely one of the main selling points, but there's also a really good cast in play. They're all having fun. They're all acting pretty well, and it's just cool. It's just it's a really, really, really messed up city. Sin City is not a place you want to live. So the movies just tell you tales of what goes on there and the people there, the corruption and all that, and it's just cool.
Yeah, I really liked it, and it's not going to make a lot of money, unfortunately. But I thought it was pretty good. We actually saw it in 3D, and they actually did a pretty nice job with 3D. They didn't take too much time to throw it in your face. They just pretty much kept it how it was with little visuals. Some of the visuals that I don't even know how they would look in normally, but they were just kind of perfect for 3D. So interestingly enough, I thought that was a pretty good 3D experience. Coming from a person who really hates 3D, I didn't have to take my glasses off one time to give my eyes a rest. So they did a nice job there. Yeah, the cast is really incredible. The visuals are incredible. The timeline is a little messed up and confusing. It's I can believe that Marv is still alive, so that I could get past. But there's just, I'm trying to think of all the things. I guess Michael Clarke Duncan's character from the last film doesn't really. If that is supposed to be Michael Clarke Duncan, they look exactly the same.
No, it's definitely the same character.
It is definitely the same character. Well, there you go. So he doesn't have, his timeline's basically messed up. I won't spoil it for you. And I don't know. Interestingly enough, the title of the movie, I don't think the title of the movie really fits that well. I don't think you could title specifically a Sin City movie because it's multiple stories within it. So basically, I guess the title of the film portion of the movie wasn't the ending. It ended midway through the film. Well, let's go 3/4. There was still another story after A Dame to Kill For ended. So I think they made a mistake with the title, but is that really that big of a deal? No. So I guess overall, I thought it was a very good film, but I guess it's been done before, and it's a little too late, I suppose. But thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. The other film that came out that only I saw, Jeremy avoided it, which was ended up being a good idea. The Expendables 3. You go into Expendables 3 expecting, this over the top action, cheesy humor. You go in, you pay for that, and then, it kind of went into it, and it just it wasn't that. It was PG-13. This is a spoiler, but Mel Gibson shoots Terry Crews. I mean, he doesn't die, but I think Terry Crews is one of the most entertaining people in the entire film, and they just shot him. And on top of that, Sylvester Stallone retires his old crew, so you spend half the movie with these kids, Kellen Lutz, Ronda Rousey, Ortiz, whatever his first name is, I don't know, David Ortiz, not the baseball player, the boxer.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of the baseball player.
Then you could be, I don't know. But anyway, Ortiz. See, that's how bad it is. Like, who are these people? I mean, you know who they are, but like, come on, they aren't the '80s action stars that we've grown to love about this franchise. So it took a lot away. It took a lot away from what made the first two films so great. Well, I don't want to say it was so great, but so entertaining. So I mean, it just created this dull action film that it just had no business in a series with the title Expendables, honestly. So
Victor,
there you go. So okay, there you go. Victor Ortiz, David Ortiz. You don't even watch baseball. What are you throwing out baseball names for?
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that's basically. I don't really have much more to say. It's disappointing. Mel Gibson was great. I hope he's in more movies. Even though his off-screen stuff isn't so great. Don't really like him as a person, but as an actor, he's wonderful. Actor and director, he's wonderful. So, I mean, that's the plus. And actually, what Jason said, where like they tried to have a plot, and like the plot didn't make sense. So, like, what's the point? I don't know. I would honestly skip this one. You could check out that review at cupofjoe.com if you want to read more. But other than that, I think it's time to move on to the box office so I could shut up.
Okay. So last weekend we got 3 new wide releases. All of which either really disappointed or just didn't break out. And as a result, the top 2 movies were the same as they were the weekend before. So fifth and first of the newcomers was The Giver. That opened to $12.3 million. That's about right, I guess. It's just, I don't know. I don't think you can really make a movie out of that book, at least a successful one anyway. So 12.3 is probably about as good as that could have done. In fourth was The Expendables 3 with a $15.9 million opening. There's no way to spin this. That is a complete and total absolute disaster. There's just it's an utter failure. There's nothing else to say. The first Expendables opened to more than twice that. It opened to 34, and then the second one was, I think, 28, 27, somewhere around there. So it fell a little, but not that much, and actually made more overseas. But then, sinking all the way down to a little less than 16, I mean, that's awful. It'll probably only make about 45 million domestically. overseas might be able to pick up the slack, but I mean, anyway you slice it, that's probably it for the franchise. Number 3 went to Let's Be Cops, and that made 17.8 million and 26.2 since opening on Wednesday. So it's a little bit surprising that of the 3 openers, that was, the number 1, and it had Wednesday and Thursday to kind of dilute its weekend. So if it had just opened on Friday, it might have made like 20, 21. So, that's pretty solid. I mean, it's not the 2 dudes, Jake Johnson, I think it's some Waynes Jr. It might be Marlon, it might be Damon. I don't know, but whoever he is, he's a Waynes. And those guys aren't really draws. I mean, they're known, but they're not, they're not stars.
Right.
So I think that's a solid opening. This is clearly not going to be this year's We're the Millers, but it could find itself a nice profit. Our number 2 picture was Guardians of the Galaxy. That fell 40% to 25 million. Has a total of 222.7. Winter Soldier's going down. It's it's a done deal at this point. I mean, Guardians is going to start having lower weekdays once kids go back to school and everything, but even still, it should do well this weekend. It'll get a nice boost over Labor Day, and by that time it'll already be at like 265. So, it's easily going to be the number 1 movie of the summer, which is great. The more movies that can beat Maleficent, the better. So I'm really happy for this movie and for Marvel. But our number 1 movie, once again, was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was down 57% to 28.5 million. Total of 117.8. And I expected a bigger drop from that. I thought it was going to drop over 60. So that's not a bad drop, really. It's a decent hold. I don't think there's any chance TMNT can hit 200, but 175-ish isn't unthinkable.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go! Go Ninja, go Ninja, go!
I hope that plays in the movie at some point.
Oh man, yeah. I might want to try to check that out at some point, just see how it is. I was gonna say Guardians. I might just see that again because it was awesome.
I'd go.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, that's really the advantage that movie has. It's so much fun. Fun for all ages. So that's why that's up there. I'm actually surprised that
I wouldn't take like a 6-year-old.
Well, naturally, yes.
I'm just nitpicking.
Right. Yeah, I'm surprised that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has held as well as it has. But hey, good for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know.
Michael Bay knows what he's doing.
He does. I wish we could tell you more about the film itself, but we haven't seen it. Other than that, Expendables 3, I understand why it went down. And it was leaked online, but I don't think it made that much of a difference. I mean, maybe like 1 million. I don't know, but it was surprising that that I feel like that's just a huge drop. But I mean, judging by the quality of the film, I'm not really surprised. Other than that, whatever. Let's Be Cops. Good for you. It's making a decent profit for itself. Well, it will, apparently. I don't know what its production budget is, but I'm sure it'll make a decent profit for itself.
It can't be that much.
No, it can't be. And The Giver, I'm going to take your word for it.
Production budget was 17 million.
There you go. So it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's there. So other than that, now we could talk about the movies coming out. This weekend, of course, one that we already saw, Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, where they do, spoiler alert, they do say the title of the film in the movie, and it's kind of funny. But Yeah, I mean, I guess as far as recommending it for people, you really can't recommend it for too many people. It's really good, but it's not like you could bring your kids. Older people won't like it, so it's kind of in that.
Very niche.
It's a kind of a cult following, if you will. If you like movies based on graphic novels, then you'll probably like this film. If you don't, you just won't. And if you do like movies based on graphic novels, then you will really like this film. You'll put it up there with the rest of the good ones. So I mean, that's really all I have to say about that.
So let's see. What else do we have? When the game stands
Oh,
tall.
the game stands tall. Oh my God! Now last night, before you got there for the film, there was someone who went before me and said, "2 for when the game starts." And oh my God, it was hilarious. Like at that point, if I were the ticket person, that's one of those things where I'd just be like, "No," like not even close. And it's funny because
Wow.
he looked for help on the screen and it just said when the game and like it because it ran out of room. I mean, there's nothing. So
It's a long title.
exactly, it's just he's the embodiment of America, and that's why we make titles so short. But anyway, yeah, when the game starts. So when the game stands tall. Now, this kind of looks like one of those films that's I guess an inspirational sports movie. But I don't think it looks as good as other inspirational sports movies. To be honest with you, there's not really a strong notable cast member in it except Caviezel, who played Jesus, obviously. But his acting in the trailer is like awful. So
So is everyone else's.
That's exactly like his narrating the trailer is awful. Like you can't sit a guy down and get him to narrate like properly. So anyway, it just to me it just doesn't look very well done, honestly, in the trailer. So and no really notable actors. So I don't know. I don't really have an interest in this one. And ordinarily, I'm a big inspirational sports guy, but I don't see it in this one.
Yeah, neither do I. Looks fairly cliche, and
Yeah.
like you said, the cast just isn't that interesting. I don't think it's that interesting of a story. I honestly think the title is off-putting.
Yeah.
It's just weird sounding and too long,
Mm-hmm.
and people are gonna mess it up.
Yeah.
So, it would be lucky to break 10 million.
Yeah. No, generic.
There we go.
Yeah. It just looks generic. That's the basic thing. Anything else?
If I stay.
Oh right, If I Stay, we missed that. Jeremy.
Okay, If I Stay stars Chloe Grace Moretz, who most know as Hit Girl from the Kick-Ass series. She plays a girl who is torn between going to Juilliard to study some instrument, a cello, violin, something with that motion.
It's all the same.
Yeah, or staying with her rock star boyfriend. Then she gets into a car accident, she's in a coma, and then she needs to decide if she wants to go to the afterlife or go back to life. I think everyone gets that decision in that situation. That's how it goes. That's the thrust of it. So it's basically like The Fault in Our Stars light, a teen romance movie that's going to tug at the heartstrings. So oddly enough, it's looking like it could be the #1 movie this weekend. So depending on how things fall with Guardians of the Galaxy, If I Stay might make 15-ish. So
yeah, I mean that type of movie has come out. We've seen it in The Fault in Our Stars, really broken out. There's been a few of those films that have broken out this year. So, and this guy found a way to put in tugging at the heartstrings into Another Cup of Joe show. Have a good week.